and that is how come Museveni and his commanders to date have never been investigated. They have never been made to answer for the genocide, the war crimes, the atrocities in northern Uganda, the war crimes, the atrocities committed in the Congo, even though all these are well documented.
Now, tell me, if Olara Otunnu, who's been endorsed by Museveni, is going to be like, okay, now that I am Secretary General of the UN, at the endorsement of Museveni, I want us to investigate. This is a Museveni man having this position of influence and making sure that he looks the other way. As Museveni is in his evening is at hand, and we see the ascending of Muhoozi to be installed as a president in this dynastic sort of rule in Uganda. This man should not be UN Secretary General.
Fascinated political opposition. Museveni's done more, yet nobody associates Museveni with atrocities.
Museveni managed to impress the Western world. They didn't know that he was actually a wolf in a sheep's skin.
Museveni's become the master and divine and rule.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
I recently shared my opinions in regards to Olara Otunnu's bid for the UN Secretary General. And I received a barrage of insults, ad hominem attacks on my Facebook. And I shared this post across my social media platforms, but especially on Facebook. That's why so many people accused me of hating Olara Otunnu's tribe. For clarity, I don't know his tribe. I know he's from northern Uganda, but I don't know his tribe. And others were just hurling insults after insults, and I was just laughing. Hey, I've gotten used to that. Unfortunately, we've gotten used to these insults because, I mean, that's the currency of social media. Now, I don't ask you to transact in that currency, but you have to recognize it. There's a place for that. I'm going to go on and read you what I wrote, and then I'll give you my commentary with a few receipts on why I oppose the candidacy, I think that's American, the candidature of this man, Olara Otunnu, who's been endorsed by Museveni to become United Nations Secretary General. Watch him. I said, I would like to see Olara Otunnu lose his bid for UN Secretary General. And then I said, stay with me for a second. I don't support him not because he's a Ugandan, not because I hate Uganda. I certainly not because I'm incapable of taking pride, and certainly not because I'm incapable of taking pride in seeing a Ugandan aspire to an international position. And then I went on to say, my objection is much more fundamental. I fear that Otunnu's ambition to climb the UN ladder could ultimately serve to whitewash, sanitize, or downplay the turmoil, repression, and violence that have characterized Museveni's rule and increasingly the conduct of his son, referring to Muhoozi. I said, I already know what will follow. So that's why I said I'm really used to these attacks. I said, some Ugandans will attack me and accuse me of betraying my country. Why? Because they have been taught a very convenient definition of patriotism. If something carries the Ugandan flag, you must support it. If a Ugandan rises, you must cheer. If you question a Ugandan, you attacking Uganda itself. I reject that logic completely. Uganda is not Museveni. This is my justification. Uganda is not his government. Uganda is not the NRM. And Uganda certainly does not become less Ugandan because a Ugandan citizen refusing to endorse the political ambitions of another Ugandan. I said, I make deliberate distinction between my country and the political regime that currently controls it. I can love Uganda deeply and still oppose the people who have abused its institutions. I can be proud of being a Ugandan and still reject an international campaign that I believe could help rehabilitate or sanitize the image of a regime or government whose record deserves scrutiny. Patriotism is not blind endorsement. Sometimes the most patriotic thing you can do is refuse to confuse the interests of a government with the interests of the nation. So no, I will not support Otunnu simply because he's a Ugandan. My allegiance is to Uganda, not anyone who happens to wield power in Uganda. You can go on. So you get, the drill here. So I oppose him. And I oppose him because Olara Otunnu, as seen Uganda, you might argue, up close and personal. He has watched the erosion of our institutions. He has watched the repression. He was a leader in the 80s, as I'm going to explain to you. He's seen political violence and the culture of impunity that continues to be consolidated or used by the Museveni criminal regime. Yet instead of confronting these realities with urgency they deserve, what has been Olara Otunnu, what has he been doing? He has been often retreated into intellectual semantics. You're going to see him talk here. This diplomatic language and carefully crafted platitudes. That's Olara Otunnu for you. Now, to paint a picture here, I don't know whether you guys, and I'm going to ask you to go and watch the Brilliant Genocide, a documentary, and listen to voices from that. Listen here.
People give estimates about how many people he exterminated or assassinated political opposition. Museveni's done more, yet nobody associates Museveni with atrocities.
Nobody associates with Museveni with the atrocities, yes.
He managed to impress the Western world. They didn't know that he was actually a wolf in a sheep's skin.
He was a wolf in a sheep's skin. That's Norbert Mao. And I don't understand. I feel sorry for northern Uganda. How their people have completely wasted their potential. All these were presidential hopefuls, the likes of Olara Otunnu. They've run for office at one time. Norbert Mao. They know the person they're dealing with. This is before they were compromised. This is before they were pulled close to power. They forgot everything. They give praises to Museveni. And I feel my heart breaks every day, every time I watch Norbert Mao retreating these very vague, stupid press conferences where he tells jokes and laughs at his own jokes. He's become a clown, a shadow of his former self. A man who stood on principles and values. He actually, of recent, he warned us, hey, we are in places where power, is negotiated. Now you know that always his aim has always been proximity to power. How much influence do I have? Not to change the material lives of people, no, but to enrich himself, and he's done so. Sad.
When he's become the master.
Go back here.
Assassinated political opposition. Museveni's done more, yet nobody associates Museveni with atrocities.
Museveni managed to impress the Western world. They didn't know that he was actually a wolf in a sheep's skin.
Museveni's become the master and divine and rule.
Milton Alimadi actually asked me, I shared the same piece with him on his online newspaper.
He knows how to set one ethnic group against the other to his own advantage and for his benefit.
Museveni's army was moving from village to village. If they were not burning houses, then they're shooting people down. If they are not shooting people down, they are destroying crops.
Government soldiers would actually perpetrate these atrocities and then make it appear as if the LRA had committed those crimes.
And that has been his strategy. Commit crimes. Let me go on and probably remind you of the strategy he's been using for quite some time. This is Bobby Wine.
Mushenyi yavayo n'agamba bwe twali tulwanyisa Obote twayambalanga uniform za UPC ne tugenda ne tutta abantu bakyawa Obote. Kitegeeza nti ne mu kutta abantu kwe tuteeka ku Obote bali basajja ba Museveni.
Yeah. So there's that argument. And this is not Bobby Wine alleging. These are admissions from insiders within the Museveni criminal regime. Not even insiders, members of parliament, ministers. These were words of Severino Kahindo Tafire during the funeral of Teberondwa, who said, hey, this is how we used to do terrorize communities. We would dress up like Obote soldiers, come visit mayhem onto innocent people at night, and then during daytime, then we would wear our uniforms and present ourselves as liberators and helping people. This man, Olara Otunnu, knows about everything mentioned there. And I'm going to have to play you another clip where it says, where it tells us. Where's
Yoweri Museveni?
Oh, wait a second. Olara Otunnu, I had him right here. Watch Olara Otunnu tell us.
So I'm deeply disappointed to see that now the application of the Rome Statute, the selection of persons to be investigated and indicted, is being done in a politically influenced manner. And that is how come Museveni and his commanders to date have never been investigated. They have never been made to answer for the genocide, the war crimes, the atrocities in northern Uganda, the war crimes, the atrocities committed in the Congo, even though all these are well documented.
Now, tell me, if Olara Otunnu, who's been endorsed by Museveni, is going to be like, okay, now that I am Secretary General of the UN, at the endorsement of Museveni, I want us to investigate. This is a Museveni man having this position of influence and making sure that he looks the other way. As Museveni is in his evening is at hand, and we see the ascending of Muhoozi Kainerugaba to be installed as a president in this dynastic sort of rule in Uganda. This man should not be UN Secretary General. All these atrocities he mentioned, the genocide, the destruction of lives, the violence, all of that is mentioned, are still ongoing in Uganda. He hasn't raised a single voice, not even once. Now, many of you, actually many people, again, I've seen Museveni's propaganda say, you know, he used to be at the UN. Do you know Museveni is the one who recommended him? That's, again, another lie. Olara Otunnu was actually at the UN during the 80s, from 80, I think, to 85. He was the undersecretary for, he was permanent representative of UN from 80 to 1985. That was before Museveni. And then when Museveni came to power, at that time, Olara Otunnu had experience. He was appointed by Kofi Annan. Without the endorsement of Museveni, zero, when he became the under general secretary and representative for children and armed conflict from 1995 to 2005. That wasn't Museveni. Behind that, the appointment was by Kofi Annan after consultation that were really, these consultations that were really extensive. And then he was appointed. So Museveni hasn't played any role in the career of this man. This man built himself before Museveni. But as a result of, like I mentioned, proximity to power, accumulation of wealth, and career ladder climbing, he's going to become blind to the atrocities committed by Museveni and his son as we speak right now. All these people that used to make noise, the likes of Otunnu or Norbert Mao, they've all retreated to their comfort zones. Not that the problems they used to raise have been solved, absolutely not. People are still being taken advantage of. Their land is being stolen. Many are still being abducted, tortured, and killed in Uganda. But because these people are so much obsessed with positions of power and influence, they don't care anymore. Norbert Mao, what a shame. What a shame. Minister of Justice and... talk about shame. Museveni slapping you in the face. A lawyer, presidential hopeful, who has spent all these years flapping your gums about respect of the rule of law. Oh, I am a lawyer, constitution, let's respect the constitution. And then he appoints you Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, yet you cannot do anything, zero. Justice is being delayed and in so many cases denied to people. The Constitution is being abrogated, abused, but you won't do nothing. That's Museveni for you. He mocks your career. He looks at you. He belittles you, reduces you to a mere clown. That's what he did to Norbert Mao. That's why Norbert Mao has become a representative, an agent of intellectual semantics and platitudes and carefully crafted narratives. When he holds press conferences, all he does is tell stories. Oh, I am Norbert Mao. Now, let me tell you a funny story. Oh, and people laugh. Ha, 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 ha. Done. Career destroyed. Reputation eroded. This man should not become UN Secretary General.
Mr. Ocampo, the chief prosecutor.
Sad. These are people. Okay, let's go now to Norbert Mao. These are people who are telling us about Museveni.
Well, Ebony, the government has to keep its promises to northern Uganda. So the way to answer your question about what is the current situation in northern Uganda is to ask another question. Has the government kept its promises to the people of northern Uganda? It is as simple as that. It's not looking at things through rosy glasses. It's also not about being overly pessimistic. I was the chairman of Gulu district. Half of Acholiland was under my administration as the head of the local government. I am the one who saw that area make the transition from war to peace. Mm-hmm. I have been denounced for calling the peace a tentative peace. Mm-hmm. But I have no apology for saying the guns have fallen silent, but we don't have peace. Because there are so many issues that need to be sorted out. Everybody condemns me for saying we have a tentative peace.
Spoiler alert, we still have that tentative peace, but the problem that was solved, or he talks about sorting out a few problems, he was sorted out. When he got in bed with Museveni, given a ministerial position, he doesn't care about a thing anymore. He's now resorted to singing these, again, like I said, hollow platitudes. Oh, peace and reconciliation, peace. He doesn't care. He doesn't do zero. When he's confronted by the lawlessness and the criminality of Museveni's son, he hides behind, oh, may I have said this? Resign.
Why a tentative peace? The Uganda government signed the peace agreement with the LRA delegation. And President Museveni said, with or without Joseph Koi's signature, the government will honor the agreement. You need to look at that agreement. It's a good document. It proclaims a renaissance, basically, in terms of the relationship between the North and the rest of Uganda. The government made the promise that there would be a peace and reconciliation process. Nothing has been done. The government promised that there would be reconstruction of northern Uganda. Instead, the money meant for rehabilitating northern Uganda is being stolen by government officials.
Everything is mentioning right there. It is still going on in Uganda. Now he enjoys when he's seen, around, what are they called? Big boys. He's seated with Muhoozi. How do you, oh my God. Historians will look at this time. I don't know what they'll say about Norbert Mao. What a shame. He sits around with Muhoozi, a man who orders the abduction of his political opponents or his father's political opponents, gets them tortured, takes pictures of his victims, posts them on social media, them naked. He's a friend to Norbert Mao. Norbert Mao doesn't see anything wrong with that. He's so comfortable in his ministerial position. Same with Olara Otunnu. All these promises, oh, Museveni should keep his promise. Oh, Museveni should be brought to book. Oh, Museveni sold this image of himself being a democratic, a liberal democrat or something like that to the West. They do not care. And now, with Museveni endorsing Olara Otunnu, is actually completely now sending him to bury every complaint we have raised to the UN. We should go with the hashtag. We should expose everywhere Olara Otunnu is. We should post pictures of people that have been maimed, tortured, abducted, the abuse of the rule of law in Uganda, the destruction and erosion of institutions. We should confront them with the atrocities they've committed. And these who have looked the other way, ignored or downplayed it, we should confront them. We should expose them. So that's where I don't know the tribe of, I don't care about your tribe. Zero. I care about people's rights. Before you became a Munyankole, before I became a Munyankole, I was a person. I was a human being. I care about my rights as a human being, not as a Munyankole. Munyankole will come later. Before I became Ugandan, I was a human being. I care about human rights. Not your tribe. Vatimbones is my tribe. I don't care. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I oppose with everything in my heart and soul. I oppose Olara Otunnu. I think that's okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Please make sure you stick around. Subscribe. Share this video if you really think I made a few points, or you can actually write it down in the comment section. Be like, hey, Mordecai, I think you forgot this perspective. You can actually disagree with me, disagreeably, with respect, and everything should be all right. All right. Like the video. Bye-bye for now.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.